My father promised me the family business after 15 years of working 80-hour weeks. The day he retired, he handed it to my younger brother who's never worked a day in his life. He's got charm, you've got calluses, he said. That night, I drove to the shop and saw the locks changed. What I did next, no one in my family will ever forget. I'm not sure where to even begin with this because I still wake up some nights thinking maybe I dreamed it. But I didn't. This happened. And it changed everything. When I was 21, I came home to Springfield, Missouri. Not because I had to, but because my dad asked me to. I just finished school, had plans to move down to Arkansas and start my own thing, maybe go into diesel work. But then he called. Your mom's not doing great. The shop's a mess. I need you, son. He never said stuff like that. My dad's the kind of man who thinks showing weakness is worse than lying. So when he said he needed me, I didn't ask questions. I packed my bags that same night and drove home. I didn't plan to stay long. A year, tops. Help out, get the place running smoother, then go. That's what I told myself. But 1 year turned into 2, then 5. Then 10. Before I knew it, I was 36, still living in my childhood bedroom, still working at Danvers Auto and Diesel, the family shop that had been around since before I was born. Every day, I'd be in by 6 a.m. Sometimes earlier. I'd open up, get the coffee going, check the orders. I knew how many bolts were in the bins without even counting. I knew which customers needed their hand held and which ones just wanted to drop the keys and go. I could rebuild a Cummins engine blindfolded by the time I hit 30. Meanwhile, my little brother Zach? He was off doing. I don't even know. Chasing women, drinking with frat boys, posting selfies at EDM festivals. He never worked a day in that shop. Not once. The only time he came by was to borrow money or crash the work truck coming back from a weekend in Branson. But I kept working. And Dad kept saying the same thing. You're the heart of this place, son. When I hang it up, it's all yours. Just gotta be patient. So I waited. I worked. I missed birthdays, skipped vacations, gave up weekends. I kept my head down, thinking hard work would pay off. Because that's what Dad taught me growing up. Work hard, keep your word, and life will treat you fair. Then the day came. His retirement. We threw a party behind the shop. We grilled ribs, had kegs of beer, everyone came. Customers, suppliers, old friends. I was nervous but excited. I figured this was it. The torch was about to be passed. Dad stood up with a drink in his hand, tapped a spoon to the glass. He started talking about the shop's history. About all the years he spent building it. Then he said something I'll never forget. This place has always been about family. And now it's time to pass it on. I had to really think hard about who's right for the job. Who can bring new life into it. He smiled. Looked over at Zach. Zach's got that charm. He's got the look, the voice, the feel for the future. He's the right man to lead this place forward. I stared at him, thinking maybe he was joking. He wasn't. People clapped. My aunt cried. Zach looked confused, like he didn't even want it. I felt like someone poured cold water down my back. I didn't say anything. I just walked away. Later that night, I drove to the shop. It was almost midnight. I needed to be there to feel it one last time, maybe get my tools, maybe just sit in the place I'd poured my entire adult life into. But the locks were changed. Not just the front door. The garage bays too. My keys didn't fit anywhere. Like I'd never even worked there. I just stood there in the parking lot, staring at the dark windows, hearing my father's words echo in my head. He's got charm. You've got calluses. That's when something snapped inside me. I wasn't gonna yell. I wasn't gonna beg. I wasn't even gonna confront him. I was gonna take something from them. Not something small. Something they couldn't fix. Something they'd feel every day. I went home that night and didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor until the sun came up. My hands were shaking, not from sadness, but from rage. 15 years. 15 damn years, just erased like I was some temp worker. Next morning, I didn't go to the shop. I didn't call Dad. I didn't say a word to anyone. I just drove to my old buddy Tanner's place on the south end of town. Tanner and I used to race back in the day. He still had a place where he tuned performance cars and fixed up bikes for cash. He wasn't legal about everything, but he knew engines and he knew secrets. He opened the door and said, "Jesus, you look like hell. Got any space in the back? I need a place to work." He nodded. No questions. That's what I liked about Tanner. I started working out of his garage, real hush-hush. Just nights and weekends at first. Then full-time once I knew I wasn't going back. I took on a couple of side jobs, word-of-mouth stuff. Some old customers reached out when they realized I was gone from Danvers Auto. It's not the same without you, they'd say. Damn right it wasn't. Within 2 months, I had a steady flow of work. And then I got the idea. Dad and Zach didn't just give me the finger, they locked me out of my life. But they left the back door wide open. See, the shop didn't just survive off oil changes and engine rebuilds. We had contracts. Service agreements with city fleet vehicles, local construction companies, school buses. I managed those for years. I still had the contacts, the names, the numbers, and the trust. So I made a few calls. Told them I was opening my own place. Said I'd beat any quote Danvers gave. Told them I'd work weekends, holidays, whatever it took. One by one, they started jumping ship. I didn't have a real shop yet, just a rented bay in Tanner's place and a mobile rig I'd built myself, but I was bleeding their business dry. Zach must have noticed because 2 months after Dad's retirement party, I got a text from him. First one in years. Zach, hey, we should talk. Business stuff. I ignored it. 2 days later, I got another one. Zach, some of the clients say you're stealing them. That true? That made me laugh out loud. Stealing? You can't steal something that was never theirs to begin with. But that wasn't the twist. The twist came when I got a call from Mom. She was crying. Your father had a fall, she said. Can you come to the hospital? I hesitated. Part of me wanted to say no, but something in her voice sounded broken. So I went. He was there, pale, hooked up to machines, arm in a sling. He slipped on oil in the garage, she said. Hit his head. He'd be okay, but it would take time. Zach was sitting by the bed. He looked tired, older, like the weight of the place was crushing him. I stood in the doorway. He looked up. We need you. Those words hit hard. They didn't mean what I wanted them to mean. They didn't mean, we're sorry. They meant, clean up our mess. I didn't say anything, just turned and walked out. They gave away the shop like it was a party favor. Now they wanted me back to fix it? No chance. I had my own plan, and I wasn't done yet. About a week after I walked out of that hospital room, I got served. Yep, served. A manila envelope from a process server showed up at Tanner's garage while I was elbow-deep in a transmission. Inside, a cease and desist letter. Danvers Auto, under new ownership, was accusing me of defamation, client poaching, and using proprietary business information. I laughed when I read it. Actually laughed. But Tanner didn't. This is serious, he said, pulling off his gloves. They're trying to bury you. You don't got a real lawyer, you're screwed. Turns out, Zach had convinced Dad to let him bring in an actual attorney. Some cocky kid from a downtown firm who smelled like cologne and backroom deals. They were building a case against me, trying to paint me as some bitter ex-employee going rogue. What they didn't know was that I had documentation, invoices, client emails, texts from before Dad even retired. I had proof I was already talking with folks about side gigs and potential expansions. All dated and backed up. Still, I needed more than proof. I needed leverage. That's when something strange happened. I got a visit. From Dave. Dave was our main parts distributor for nearly 2 decades. Rough, no nonsense, always showed up in a rusty red van. He came by Tanner's shop one night just as I was locking up. Figured I'd find you here, he said, stepping out. What's up? He looked over his shoulder like someone was watching. Then he said they're not paying their invoices. Danvers Auto. Been 90 days. I already cut them off. That stopped me cold. No parts? No business. They're dead in the water, he said. And word's spreading. 3 other vendors called me asking if I knew what the hell was going on. That was it. That was the final crack in the dam. I made a few calls. Quiet ones. Told a few old clients I was opening my own official place. I leased a small lot with a busted building off Battlefield Road. Nothing pretty, but the bones were solid. I spent nights and weekends gutting it. Painted the walls myself. Put in lifts with the help of 2 guys I trusted. Then I dropped the bomb. I opened Callus Auto and Diesel. Real name, real sign, real clients. The day it opened, I offered a grand opening special, free diagnostics and 20% off labor for any former Danvers clients. I had cars lined up around the block by noon. A week later, Zach showed up. He didn't come inside, just parked across the street and stared. He looked lost. That might have been enough. But then I got a call from my cousin Wyatt. You need to know something, he said. Zach's been lying to your dad. Fudging the books. Took out a loan against the shop without telling him. Used the building as collateral. What? Yeah, he said. And it gets worse. He put the business in his own name. Your dad's got no legal claim anymore. That was it. Not only did Dad give away the business, but Zach stole it completely. And no one saw it coming. Except me. I wasn't finished yet. After Wyatt told me what Zach did, I went cold. The shop, the business, the Danvers name, none of it even belonged to my dad anymore. It was all in Zach's hands, and Dad had no clue. The betrayal wasn't just mine anymore. Zach screwed over both of us. I didn't tell my dad right away. I wanted to be sure. So I called a lawyer. Not some cheap one either. A real one from Kansas City. I paid him every extra dollar I had. He looked through the business records, the property files, the bank paperwork. His answer? It's true. Your brother owns everything now. Your dad must have signed over power of attorney or got tricked. There's no way back without a lawsuit, and even then it's messy. I didn't cry. I didn't get mad. I got focused. I started asking around. Clients, friends, even some of the old staff who jumped ship after I left. Turns out Zach was burning the place down from the inside. He didn't know how to manage people. Couldn't talk to clients without pissing them off. Took out loans to cover payroll. Missed taxes. Let the inspection stickers on the garage bays expire. The Danvers name was circling the drain. Then I found my chance. One of the school district guys I used to work with, he told me the shop still had a standing contract to service their buses. But only if they passed their annual state audit. That audit was scheduled for the next week. I didn't interfere. I didn't call anyone. I didn't sabotage a thing. But I did send an anonymous tip to the Department of Transportation. A few photos. Expired inspection signs. An oil spill behind the garage that was leaking into the storm drain. A stack of tires stored wrong. Things I knew about because I used to handle them. Then I sat back and waited. The audit failed. The school district pulled their contract. The city pulled theirs 2 days later. Vendors went public saying they weren't getting paid. Word spread. By the end of that month, Danvers Auto closed its doors. Zach tried to sell off what equipment he could, but it didn't cover the loans. He defaulted. The bank seized the building. It sat empty, a ghost of what it used to be. Dad called me one night, voice shaking. I didn't know, he said. He said he had it handled. No, I said, calm. You said he was the future. You locked me out. He didn't say anything. Then he cried. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel bad either. I just felt done. For 15 years, I carried that place on my back. Gave up my life for it. And when they threw me away, I built something better. Callus Auto grew fast. The name meant something to people. It stood for hard work. For someone who earned it the hard way. I hired some of the old mechanics back. Paid them better. Treated them like partners. 6 months later, Dad came by. Quiet, no warning. Just walked into the shop and stood there. You built this, he said, looking around. Yeah, I did. He looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Like he lost everything. I made a mistake, he said. I nodded. More than one. I should have given it to you. You earned it. You can't undo it, I said. I know. I didn't tell him I forgave him. Because I hadn't. Maybe I never will. But I let him walk the shop floor. I let him see what I built. And when he left, I got back to work. Because this was mine. Finally.